Okay, we are live here. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I see the number of attendees increasing in the panel right here. Welcome. With us here we have Daniel Verdejo del Fresno from Bay Area Futsal Club. Daniel is going to join us and speak a lot actually, and dive into details about futsal and actually not futsal so much, Daniel. Right? We're going to talk about small-sided games and how to apply those.
It's going to be both. It's going to be futsal and small-sided games.
Even better, even better. We've throughout the summit we've talked about futsal. I want to make sure I pronounce it rightly. So here, we've had Keith Tozer and Anson Durans, and I mean, you're talking about legendary coaches, and they both just emphasize the importance of futsal and how to translate it to the game. And throughout most of the presentations that we dove deep into technicalities and being tactical, how the one-on-one games, the 1v2, how they translate on the field in the big picture and all. It was pretty fascinating stuff when you break it down to a science like the way you will today. Pretty exciting things. Gonna take a couple more minutes here to let people come in. I'd like to remind everybody that this session is recorded, so this entire session will be uploaded to our website later this evening, and you'll be able to watch the replay in case you have to leave early, or if you're on another session right now that we have and wanted to come back to this. All this information will be available, and we'll go from there. I see the number of attendees still coming in. I think we're kind of becoming to fluctuate around a consistent number, so I think we can go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everybody to the session. My name is Hamza Al-Haidari. I am a program director with America's Course Bay Area. Thank you for joining us for the Soccer Coaches Summit hosted by America's Course. We are thrilled and excited to have Daniel here join us from Bay Area Futsal Club. Daniel, I would like to give it to you to introduce the audience to yourself, your experience, and can't wait to see your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Hamza. I'm going to start sharing my screen. My name is Daniel. Okay, I was born in Spain. I went to England. I lived in England a couple of years, and then I came here to the US in 2016. Hopefully, everybody will be able to see the screen. If not, please let me know. We are going to talk about futsal and small-sided games and how they could benefit soccer. I'm going to be make sure that the presentation will be available for everybody. So, because it's a bit long presentation, I got around 40 slides, and so make sure that you pay attention rather than taking notes, because you will have this document for you. There is not a problem for me to share this with you. 2 years ago, I was invited to go to Italy to deliver a course in a club over there. So that is when this presentation started. Since 2 years ago, I've been modifying, studying, and I've been tweaking a bit more this presentation. But basically, this is a long journey. 2 years working on this, and I want to share with you how I think it should be. So I'm going to go through the slides. This is the table of content I want to cover, like a bit of debate, some quotes. I will explain the benefits of futsal, then some benefits that they have been proven on the field and also scientifically, and then we go into what I understand football or soccer should be organized. So there is a debate. Okay, I think everybody see those pictures: badminton player and a tennis player, same technical skill. We have American football and rugby. Here on the left bottom corner, we have rounders, a very, very popular game in England, and softball. And then we have netball on the left and basketball. And for me, what is very interesting is that in futsal, we are trying to use futsal as a development tool, and we are trying to sell futsal as a development tool for a different sport, which is soccer or football. But I don't see any other federation, or I don't see any other national governing body trying to, for example, use badminton as a tool to develop the tennis player. But yeah, you can tell me, oh, futsal is a modality of soccer because they are under the same umbrella. But we have this example. We have road cycling and mountain biking, and they are under the same umbrella, under the same federation, and I don't see any of this sport as a development tool for the other one. So this is something that I would like you to think about it. Once I said this, everybody knows these players here: Xavi, Pelé, an American one, Claudio Reina, Ronaldinho. All of them, they acknowledge, they say, they recognize that they play futsal when they were growing up, and they even recognize the benefits of playing futsal, and they encourage coaches to use futsal when they are working on the grassroots level. Ronaldo, Neymar, and Messi, there are other examples about this. So I got another question. The second question for you: if these professional footballers, absolutely top stars, they play futsal when they grew up, and they acknowledge and they recognize how important futsal was on their careers, why, as coaches, as soccer coaches, we are not using futsal? This is another question for you to think. So let's go now to the benefits of futsal. I want you to focus on this now. So there are so many documents, there is so many studies, like educational studies. There is one on the left that they are comparing futsal and 11-a-side. By the way, because you are going to have all this material, most of the images, most of the pictures, they have a hyperlink. So if you click on the hyperlink, you will be able to go to the original document. But even 5 years ago, UEFA did a document, did a consensus, the UEFA Futsal Master the Ball, where basically they explain the 10 benefits of playing futsal for soccer. And over there, they introduce like very famous players, soccer players right now, even coaches, that they acknowledge that. So then we have here the England Federation, that they put a document together where they call it the benefit of playing futsal for the development of the kids, where they say there is more 1v1 situations. The game is quicker. There is way more touches on the ball, so the kids they have more ball controls, more skills, more 1v1s. There's more continuity of the game, so there is attacking, defending, more transitions, and something very, very important, there is more fun because there are more actions, more goals, more saves. If we go into the benefit of futsal by the England Federation, into the two main groups about tactical and technical. If we go to the technical, on the right-hand side, there is more touches, there is more shooting, there is more passing. So we are going to improve these things. If we go into the tactical, because in futsal you are always engaged, you are always into the game, there is more offensive, there is more transition. The players, they are thinking more, because they have to perceive, they have to decide, and they have to execute way more, because the 100% of the time that you are on the court, you are basically playing. But what is even interesting is, this is a piece of a very famous book, a best seller, that basically they went to Brazil to analyze how Brazil have that huge amount of great soccer players. And they found out that kids over there, and you will see it a bit later on the presentation, they play futsal. So Damon Coyle talked to Simon Clifford, a guy from England that traveled to Brazil to try to study this, and they put it on this book, on the talent code, And basically they are saying that the players, they are touching the ball more in a faster environment without even realizing about that. And they think that that is the way, the reason behind in Brazil that they produce this amount of players. But then you can tell me, okay, this is different opinions. You can tell me, okay, that is a personal opinion from top players, completely subjective. So I want to show you some science proving this. About 4 or 5 years ago, UEFA funded Luca Oppici, this guy here. He's an Italian guy that went to Australia to do his PhD in an Australian university, and they funded him to do a research about how futsal could benefit football. And by the way, this is by UEFA. So what they found is that introducing futsal task constraints, which basically means reducing the space, could improve the soccer player. Using futsal balls, and I'm going to explain later why, allow the players to have more contact with the ball, and those contacts, they are more accurate. Okay? Luca also went to Barcelona. He studied the Barcelona Academy, the futsal players in the Barcelona Academy, and the football players in the Barcelona Academy. And basically, he found out that the futsal players, they have a higher scanning behavior. So basically that the players, they are looking more, they are checking their shoulder more in futsal than in football. Also, as the same as the other study, he found that there is a huge transferable into the passing skill in soccer if you use a futsal ball. A group of England in Lancashire, on the top left of England near Preston, they started also to study this, and they started to think, okay, maybe futsal is the way to develop the future football player. Maybe futsal could be the key to develop superstars in the next generation of players. And for me, what is these guys at the end, they put everything together, they publish on scientific papers about futsal, and they even said that they encourage, as you can see here underlined, that they encourage the soccer federations to introduce futsal in the grassroots, in the early stages of the development, to promote and to improve soccer players in the future. So they are encouraging federation, and that was done by UEFA. This is Luca. When he started his research, they published not very scientific, just more like an educational article on the UEFA Direct magazine in March 2017, where basically they put the main findings that in futsal there is a 23% more of passes, and most importantly, those passes, they are 18% more accurate. So now when we are practicing and we are coaching soccer, and we go to a session, and there is some studies over there that they make sure that we design a session that everybody after the session, all the kids after the session, they have touched the ball at least 1,000 times, 1,000 touches on the ball. Well, if we can reduce the space, if we can use a modified ball, and that is going to give you more touches, why we shouldn't do it? Why we are not doing it? Finally, the last scientific paper that I'm going to show you is, we did a study years ago in England. I participated a bit, that basically we did like a kind of ranking in football and in futsal in the whole world, with the nations from every single confederation. We gave points competition, and basically at the end we combine the rankings. So we did a ranking in football with the ranking in futsal, we combine them. And what we found is that the top 10 countries in futsal, they are the same one as in football. In a different order, of course, but basically they are the same one. There is only one difference. The difference is Germany. Germany is not in the top 10 in futsal because basically Germany started his futsal program in 2016, just 3 years and a half, 4 years ago. But all the other countries, they are the same. So there is a high correlation between futsal and football at the highest level. But now, also, even having those national governing bodies and those clubs telling you about the benefits of futsal, even having the professional players that they grew up playing futsal, or having these scientific benefits, you can tell me, oh, but science sometimes is not applicable to the real world. So let's see some benefits on the real world, on the field. In 2012, Miguel Rodrigo, a Spanish coach that was futsal coach that was the head coach for Japan, he started to analyze videos, and you will see later, about the similarities between Barcelona and futsal. And a journalist in Spain wrote this piece in a Spanish very famous newspaper. And basically they were comparing the Barcelona style of play with Pep Guardiola with futsal. And basically they were talking about three things: the pressure, they were talking about the triangles, playing in triangles here, and the different techniques of controlling the ball, using the toe to shoot or using the sole to control the ball. And in this article, they even interviewed Pep Guardiola. And basically, what Pep Guardiola said is that he went to watch the futsal Barcelona team. He went to talk to the head coach of the futsal team to try to learn. He also did the same with volleyball, with basketball, with handball. So basically, he was like trying to learn from different sports. But he said that yes, he went and he applied futsal principles into futsal. So now I want to show you some videos here. And let me do something here because I think the video is going to be a bit choppy. So we have here a parallel pass on the chat. I think you should be able, one sec. I'm going to share, okay? I'm going to share 4 links. So just in case it's too choppy, on the chat. So you have the link over there, 4 links, and then we go one by one. So that way, if on the presentation you see that the link is the video is a bit choppy, you can go to your own browser, copy and paste, and you can see. So here is a parallel pass in football. We call it parallel in futsal, basically because the ball travels parallel to the sideline. And here is an example that Barcelona was doing versus Granada. But here we have the Spanish national team, follow number 4, basically doing the same pass and cutting diagonal if you want to receive the ball. Or here, Marcelo from Real Madrid doing that parallel pass. Here we have Brazil. We have the Brazilian national team doing a parallel pass. I have to say that my assistant coach, Leo Soares at Beberia Futsal Club, he helped me to create these videos. So a bit of credit for him. The next one we can use like the back heel, but the parallel pass is exactly exactly the same. The ball travels parallel to the sideline. Okay, so there is one aspect there in futsal that we can perfectly transfer into football, into soccer. And here we have the same example, a backheel parallel pass, but on a futsal court. Let's go to the second video. So now on the chat, you have to go to the second link, you copy it if you think that is a bit choppy, and you paste it on your browser, and it will show. So this is cutting behind the lines, okay? So we make a pass, and the player is going to go behind the defender into the gap. This is the important thing, into the gap between the defensive lines. So this is Barcelona, and there is a gap with a ball through. But basically the key aspect is going behind the defender into the gap. Here is the same, behind the defender into the gap for a wall pass. So another example about how futsal could be transferred into soccer. Let's go with the third video. In futsal, there are different formations. One of the formations is called 4-0 because the players they position themselves into like a kind of 4-0, four players in line. It's like a semi-arc, and we are going to see here how Brazil, for example, they do it. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 players. It's like a semi-arc. The ball is going to start from the goalkeeper, and from there they are going to build out from the back. Here is another example, Brazil versus Japan, how they position themselves like in 4 in line, and this perfectly could be related to soccer or to football. Here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we have Barcelona in the Spanish Cup, in the last title that Pep Guardiola won with Barcelona. We have the 4 defenders like in a semi-arc position, trying to play the ball behind the first line of the defenders. And then let's go with the last one. Okay, about goalkeepers. In the modern game, we see more and more like David De Gea or Courtois or Joe Hart in England, that they are using basically goalkeeping futsal techniques that they have been using for years and years. So if we go to the fourth link that I sent you on the chat, we can see some futsal techniques like this one, which is the split. It's called the split save, or the next one, that is that one, which is basically like it's cross position or key position when you bend one knee down to cover as much as space as possible. So we see different goalkeepers in Brazil, in Portugal, doing this technique or the split, but also we can see Joe Hart with an amazing split save, or Courtois with an amazing split save, which is basically De Gea, what futsal goalkeepers they have been doing for years and years and years. So I really think that definitely there is a huge transfer between futsal and football. And watching these videos, we can see. But I go to my next question. And my next question is, do you think that, for example, Pep Guardiola, that has been, and even there is a paper over there, has been using, and we can see a lot of futsal on a soccer field. Do you think Pep Guardiola was training futsal with the Barcelona players? I know the answer, and I can tell you. No, they were playing on the field, they were playing soccer ball. So this is where I want to make a point. Futsal is great. Futsal could be used to develop football players, but I think as soccer coaches, we should go to study other sports and to take what we think could help us into our sport. I don't see futsal as a development tool. I see futsal as a sport. And the best example is this. So if we now keep doing this and you want more videos because you are interested in how we can take things from futsal to apply into your training, Miguel Rodrigo, the coach that I mentioned before, he has a Vimeo channel with hundreds of videos analyzing movements, analyzing techniques, analyzing aspects from futsal that they could be transferred into football. And there is an example here. I'm not going to go through all of them. That is just for you. But if you want to learn a bit more and you want to see, there is one example here, okay? So now, there is, for me, one of the best examples of the only club in the world that they have futsal integrated into the football club. So a couple of weeks ago, I was talking with the director of Santos, and basically in this club, and I don't know if you know, but Santos is probably the club that has produced the highest number of professional and greatest soccer players. They have futsal, and the way that they do it is over there, everybody plays only futsal until you are under 11. Actually, they are not even soccer leagues. So the club is just like a futsal club. When they turn into 12 years old, they start practicing and training in football, in soccer. They have 2-3 sessions a week in soccer or football, and they have one extra session of futsal. But then they keep competing in football and they keep competing in futsal. And when they go to under 14, that is when they split. And they have the two modalities. So under 14, under 16, under 18, they have futsal roster and they have football roster. And then under 20s and the professionals, that is only football. So the futsal only goes up to under 18. But this is, for me, one of the good examples about how futsal could be integrated into a football club. And I think the results, they are there. But if we analyze now, and I said that futsal is not a tool, 25 years ago, Horst Wayne, a German guy, very, very famous, he proposed how football should be. And I think everybody is going to agree with this. When we are learning languages, we go step by step. We go with letters, then vocabulary, then sentences. When we do the maths, it's the same. We follow a progression. So he proposed this. He proposed 3 versus 3, 5v5, and you can fit futsal over there, 7v7, 8v8, and then later 11 versus 11. That is how he saw soccer should be, okay? In 1996, let's focus on the graph. A university in Germany, they did some studies and they compare different formats of the game. And I really want you to focus here, okay? 4v4. This is where we have the highest number of touches on the ball. 4v4. Compared with, for example, 11 versus 11 here at the end of the graph. Okay? 3 years later, one of my teachers in the university, Daniel Lapresa, he modified what Horst Wayne did before, and basically, I don't know if you noticed, but he introduced this. Football 9 or soccer 9. So basically for him the progression should be 3 versus 3, 5 versus 5, which could be futsal, 7v7, 9v9, and then later on 11 versus 11. This is a very, very interesting study, and I want you to focus here. Weiner is, I think later on, he was the president of Cal South. He did a study comparing 8 versus 8 and 4 versus 4, almost 20 years ago, with girls, with under 10 or under 12 girls. And this is what is very, very interesting here, okay? The number of players that they have a higher number of passes is on the 4v4, not on the 8v8. But he also did a survey after the game, and he did 2 questions. Okay, question number 2 was, which game allowed you to touch the ball more? Okay, and which game did you have more fun playing? And this is what he found. The 88% of the players, they answered all those questions like the 4v4 game. So if the players, they are even conscious that they touch the ball more in a 4v4 and they are having even more fun playing, my next question is, why we are not doing this? Why we are not playing this kind of format if we want to develop soccer players? 2 years later, in England, at Manchester, probably most of you know this study because it's very famous. At Manchester United, with the under 9, it was a pilot study that they compare 8 versus 8 versus 4 versus 4. And we have the graphs here. Okay? We don't need to go in detail about everything, but they analyze the passes, the shots, the 1v1s, and what they call a skill or tricks. And of course, in 4v4, there is a higher number of opportunities for pass, to shoot, to 1v1, or to have skills. And if you check the right-hand side of the screen here, if we convert those numbers into a percentages, it's absolutely crazy. It's like wow. So just comparing 4v4 versus 8v8. So finally, when Belgium had a very, very bad European Championship years ago, in 2000, they decided they had to change the game model for the whole country. So they had meetings, they involved all the clubs, and basically what they said is, let's do a 2v2 game with goalkeeper. Let's do a 5v5 that could be futsal if you want. You can fit futsal here. 8v8 and 11v11. And they modify the competitions, okay? They started to apply this in 2013, 2014 with Chris van der Hagen. But then in 2018, so 1 year and a half, 2 years ago, they modified this and they introduced here the 3 versus 3 or 2v2 plus keeper. That is just 1 year and a half ago. And that is how they think the progression should be to teach and develop soccer players. So with all this information, all this background, I want to share with you my proposal, which basically it has been a lot of work behind. I've been like almost 2 years working on this, and I'm trying to put everything into my new book and explaining all this. So here on the left, we have the ages, and we can modify the number of players. And my proposal is 1v1, 3v3, 5v5, 7v7, 9v9, and 11 versus 11. The figure of the goalkeeper, I would introduce it here, okay, into the 5v5. So actually it's a 4v4 plus keeper, 6v6 plus keeper, 8v8 plus keeper, and 10v10 plus keeper. I don't think here, this is my personal opinion, when I disagree with the Belgian Federation, I don't really want to introduce in the 1v1 a goalkeeper, because I think that this is not doing really anything, and I want also kids to have the fun, the enjoyment of scoring goals. Here, on the 3v3, depending on the level of the players, the format could be more flexible and could be like Horst Wayne developed in the Fan Nino program, a 3 versus 3 with 2 goals in each end. So there is more opportunities to score, and also there is more opportunities to switch the point of attack. Or the model that La Presa et al. Did in Spain, where there is only one goal, a small goal. You play a 3v3, and any player in the team could play in goal in one attack. Then when they recover the ball, everybody attacks, and in the next attack, a different guy could play in goal. They put a box, and basically the first one inside the box is the goalkeeper. So it's a 3v3. It's a 3v3 with the freedom that you give to the kids to play in goal, or to not play in goal, to go up, and they rotate between themselves. Also, there is an opportunity to create 3 versus 2 if one goalkeeper just doesn't want to go up. Okay. Then, very, very important, the duration of the games, the duration of the format. And we are talking here about competition because, okay, coaches, you can tell me, yes, but we can use 3v3 or 1v1 or 2v2s in training sessions. Yes, but to develop players, we need to train and we need to compete. And the pressure and the risks that players feel on the competition, they are not the same that they feel on the training. So to develop proper players, we need to do it in a competitive environment when they can feel the risk of losing the ball just when you are the last player. So going back to the duration, the main thing that you can see is that here, and here, I put 4 quarters rather than halves. And the reason because of this is there is more coaching opportunities with 4 quarters. There is more coaching opportunities to basically ask the players for their feedback, to switch positions, to switch the goalkeeper, for example, here and here, without wasting playing time, and more opportunity to have a dialogue to the players. Okay. Of course, we go to the dimensions. I really think the dimensions of the field should change and should increase as long as the players they get older, because if we have a smaller field, that means that the players they are closer. Also, the goals they are closer. So if the players they are closer, the goals they are closer, they are also closer to the ball. So being closer to the ball means that everybody is engaged, either in attacking or in defending. Because the ball is not that far away in that corner, and you are the opposite right back, and the ball is like 40 meters away from you, and you are not involved in the game. No, if we reduce the space, everybody is engaged. Super important, the ball, and not only the ball size. As you can see, we increase the size of the ball, but also, and I would say here, at least, on those 3, I would use a modified ball. You can call it futsal ball, but not only about the size, also about the weight and about the bounce, because they don't bounce. So if the ball doesn't bounce and the ball is heavier, kids, they have more difficulties to kick the ball away from you, to kick the ball away from, which is what we see in so many games, that kids, they are just kicking because the ball is heavier and the ball doesn't bounce. It's more difficult for them to kick it. I agree with you that maybe you lose a bit of shooting technique, But at that age, we want to have the ball close to your feet. And then finally, we have the goal size. There's a lot of discussions here because we want kids to score goals. We want kids to be able to score goals. So if we reduce a lot the goal, we have more problems to score goals. But at the same time, because we introduce the figure of the goalkeeper here, we want a goalkeeper that is in a situation that is able to make some saves and to have an impact on the game. So that is my proposal, and this is how I believe soccer should be coached and teach. Basically, adapting the sport, adapting the game into the characteristics of the children. And I like to start with a 3v3 after the 1v1, of course, because for me, 3 is the magic number. 3 is the triangle save, and both offensively and defensively, we have all the principles that we need. So basically, here, the player with the ball can progress. We have an offensive cover. We have the width and mobility, and defending, which is these 3. We have the pressure on the ball, the defensive cover, and the balance. That is why I really believe that after the 1v1s, we should start with the 3v3. And that is, I think, the reason because the Belgian Federation introduced just 1.5 years ago that 3v3 format, including the goalkeeper, because they want this triangle. So to finish, and to give some time for the questions, I think that everybody agrees here that when you are teaching a little kid on the left to ride a bike, you don't put him on this huge bike. You adapt the bike to his characteristics. And if you really think and you check, the bike is different. There's no pedals. You even modify the bikes. So you modify the field, you modify the space, you modify the size of the ball. And something that a friend, thank you, Jim, for telling me this, in every single one here, the dad, the mom, the brother, every single one, they have autonomy. And that is what we want on the soccer field. We want players to have autonomy. So here, this is a perfect example for me of everything. So just to sum up, okay, if we modify, if we adapt football with the number of players, the space, the ball, the goals, and the duration, because we are closer, because everybody is engaged, we maximize the time that the players they are on the field, on the court. We make sure that the 100% of the times the team is attacking or defending, and the players they are doing that. Even a goalkeeper, because if your team has the ball, you can be a supporting pass if the space is small, or you are a defensive cover. Even the goalkeeper are engaged. So I don't know if you remember, but this is the picture that I put at the beginning of my presentation. I believe that football is a big family. It's like a tree where the 95% of the players, they want to be footballers. They want to play soccer. And during our journey, on the trunk of the tree, we have the different format that I believe on, 1v1, 3v3, 5v5, that could be futsal. We can fit futsal into the 5v5, 7v7, 9v9, and then the final game. And I see beach soccer and futsal as 2 branches of the tree, 2 pathways, and I don't see futsal as many federations or as many clubs as a threat that they are going to steal football players from us. I see as another pathway, another opportunity that you are giving to your players, first to develop, and second to choose. They can choose. Maybe they enjoy more playing futsal than football, and then they can choose. they can choose. But I really believe that it's a big family. We are in a big family. And just to finish, probably you remember that we talked about languages and maths and the proposal and the pyramid that Horst Wayne proposed. So basically, this is my pyramid. This is my educational model for football. 1v1, 3v3, 5v5, where you can fit futsal if you like, but could be on proper futsal on a hard court. But you can play 5v5 on turf, 7v7, 9v9, and then finally the whole game, 11 versus 11. So I really hope that clarified everything. As I mentioned before, thank you very much. You will have the presentation. I will share this with the organization. And now I think we have some time for questions.
Daniel, thank you so much for this incredible presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
On a lot of the talents and the skills and how you could break it down to different levels and how you could actually incorporate futsal and beach soccer into the big game. As personally, I'm someone who came up playing the regular game, regular football and soccer. And after college, I actually started playing beach soccer and taking on the beach courts and playing there. And in the last 2 years, I find myself playing a ton of futsal. And it's kind of interesting how when I look at it now, I just wish I had the opportunity to play these sports back when I was 15, 14 years old, because I think my IQ for the game and the way I play would have been better for the big field. For the sake of time, because we have another session that's coming up here in 9 minutes in the same webinar, I just wanted to ask a couple of really quick questions here, Daniel.
Okay. Yes.
I'm really glad we have you coming back again next week to finish up more and get more information on the subject. But a couple of questions that came in from the audience. With futsal being this important and it being one of the solid foundations of building players, how can we make it more popular in the United States?
Oof, that is a very, very tricky question. One of the problems that I think we have here with futsal is that the structure is not the best one because there are so many federations that they try to do the little thing about futsal. This is one reason. And the second reason I think is that at the moment, futsal, it is only something to fill the gap between fall season and spring season in the winter months. I think we should start doing more futsal all year round, that is soccer, and organizing leagues, and then we have the opportunity for everybody. If you want to play soccer, you play soccer. If you want to play futsal, you have this opportunity to play futsal. But right now, there is not really this opportunity outside the winter months.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think it's one of those challenges where it's going to take it a little bit of time to get the understanding of the importance of it and being able to incorporate it into a more consistent and sustainable form of practice and development instead of just a season filler. We have some other questions that came from the audience, and one of the things in your PowerPoint, you showed 4 links towards the end for some resources. Do you mind if you copy paste those into the chat box, please? Just if you don't mind, for some of the audience.
These ones?
These ones, yes.
Okay. Yes, I will do it. I will do it.
Okay, awesome. Actually, I think because we do have to end this session here, so maybe email me those later, and we'll be able to put them out for people.
Yes.
And get that information out to people. Daniel, I'm incredibly thankful for your time, and there are so many more questions, and I apologize to everybody here in the room for not being able to answer them because of the time restriction here. But we do have you back next week.
Yes.
Can you remind the audience what time you're coming to talk again next week? I'll look it up.
I will be back again on Monday. I think it's 12 o'clock. And I'm going to talk about more fitness aspects of futsal in a higher level, but I will be able to answer any kind of question, of course.
Definitely, yeah. Look, we do have you back Monday at noon, so please zoom in again for another session with the incredible Daniel Bardejo del Fresno. How did I do?
Very good, Hamza. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate you and appreciate your time. Daniel, this was incredible. Looking forward to see you come back and join us on Monday.
Thank you, Hamza. Thank you, everybody.